Hey, good morning, traders. How we doing? Happy post-tariff day. Look at that drop. Oh my goodness. Where am I at here? Boom, boom, boom. Is that one? I had the 240 here somewhere. I was looking for it. That's the 240. Where am I at? Yeah, here we go. Wait a second. I was just talking to my wife about it because she gets she gets kind of into it. But I was telling her that this was the election and how everybody was so excited. And the market just kind of kept going and rolling and rolling and got to here. And it's breaking all these lows, breaking this low. Look at the size of this bar. Holy moly. Isn't that crazy? 577 to 548. Wow. It's a lot of cheddar. A lot of cheddar. But that doesn't change what we do, right? And that's overnight. Everybody sold it overnight. They couldn't wait for it to get going. But you guys, here's the deal. Swings, price swings. Just like, no big deal. No big deal. We're just cruising right along, right? Prices up, down, up. That's probably not even, it's probably, yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Down, up. And you guys, it's so, you've heard me say it before, it's clay. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to get my mind clear. We're going to trade money today, real money. So I don't come in here with a whole bunch of colors and data and nonsense that makes me kind of go, oh, I'm looking after this or doing after that. It's like I can play without any stress and just go and observe and just, oh, okay, cool, right? Just not even really worrying about what's going on. I can focus in on what my objective is, which is to find a 3-to-1 trade, how I get in and how I get out. That's it. We're not really, we're not doing, deep, deep stuff here. But this is it, guys, right? Impulse leg, shelf, wash, retest, and then enter behind the wash. And really, as I go through this, there's steps. Step 2, is it really, necessary? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the stop will be buried up in the corner, or it'll be in a weird location, and you kind of have to investigate this because what you're really looking for is a clean hard up and a clean hard down. Clean hard up, clean hard down. Then boom, shot them up, boom, brought them back down. Right. So all these guys that were short and then they got long just got crushed, and then they have to get short again. They have to reposition. It's a big just money grab, which this is all going to be anyways, because, well, they're going to get to a certain price, and then everyone's going to start packing their bags up and saying, all right, let's go. So here we are. Let's look at yesterday. Pretty crazy day yesterday. It's a little tight. It's kind of like a Fed day, right? Look at that. Look at that. Just tightness. Just super tight. So what are we doing? Oh, and I just happened to mention to my wife that, one of the reasons why I do this stuff is because my trading is getting really good. I mean, really good. My numbers have never been better. And I've only been doing this I started this channel last fall, but I've had it for a couple of years, and I never really wanted to, I never really, thought about it that much. And then we've had some people sign up. I get, some questions about it because it's really simple. It's very simple trading. We're not trying to, um, we're technicians, right? We're just trying to, figure out what gets us in. See that? Now, I didn't really see this until it just jumped out at me. See that? Boom, boom. It landed behind this. So now all this is safe. All this is safe, right? You're able to load up and get long on any one of these. Do you even get a 3-to-1 on that one? Oh, look at that. To the tick. To the tick. You're right kind of there. I don't like to be underneath that right there. Give me a little breathing room because there's stops there. People put stops, right? This one's great. This is your 5-to-1 right there. Again, give me one of these a day. And I find them in hindsight. I don't find them in, but I do find them in real time too. And one of the things that I'm doing is by doing this setup thing, is really honing in on, a couple of things that eat my lunch. Look, I'm only at 30 to 40% win rate. I'm not moving mountains here or trying to, I'm just trying to stay in business. I don't want to be, my goal is to not work, or have I don't want to be anywhere. In fact, I'd love to camp. And so I, throw a little Starlink on the camper and head out, and I can, just keep on trucking. That's the purpose for me. I was watching another channel, and guy bought a car. It's like, dude, what for? I mean, he's 20, and it's all bullshit. It's not real. Excuse my language. There's no trading going on. It's all smoke and mirrors. But people want the show. They don't want they don't want to learn how to do this because it's hard. It took me years to figure this out. But nobody told me this either. It's like you'll sit around and you'll figure out this or figure out that. You'll get frustrated. But at one point, you're going to realize that you've invested a lot of time, energy, and effort, and you've got to find a way to make it work. And once that happens, and then the whole world opens up, right? Now I can, I don't care if the market's going down. I don't, the only thing I care about is that we keep evolving as a currency, as money keeps, coming around and, all that stuff. Let the politicians do what they do. And, there's opportunity everywhere if you know how to look for it. So keep your head on a swivel. We're, but I mean, right? Is that not a trade? Is that not our setup? Get our wash right here at 7 in the morning. What was I doing yesterday? I didn't trade yesterday. I knew yesterday was going to be a crap day. My language is off the chart today. No, that's not the right color, but it is the right color for right there. Right there. I'm going to get rid of that because it's making me confused. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right? So it's just, the only thing that I look at when I trade up here, I look at this because this is a pressure cooker. And you can see how price has a reaction. So why is it a pressure cooker? Because you can feel the pressure, right? There's the price is coming up. It runs into these guys. These are sellers. These guys are trying to push the market down. They want to go this way. And these guys keep fighting through and fighting through and fighting through. And then it gets up here and then it's opened up a little more, right? And then as it runs into this pressure cooker, right? It hits here, it comes down. That's what we use. In fact, exactly. That's what we use to get into our trade because we know that there's pressure coming off of the top if you want to have a better, clear understanding of that. It's the pressure. We're using the pressure from the high to take advantage of price coming off that high. Does that make sense? So as price breaks through this one here, it runs into this guy here because these guys are sellers and they're trying to sell it down. but the momentum is going up. Look at that little thing right there. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Delete. It's right there. Just jumps out at you. Yeah, I told you guys, they come in all shapes and forms. And you have to see them over and over and over again. And that's why it takes time. That's why I have one chart. That's why I have one chart, one time frame. Take all that stuff off the table. And I'm still at 30 to 40%. Right? Could you imagine if you had 5 different charts and you were doing different indicators and you had all this stuff and alerts going off and all these things? You could not focus at all. And I'm talking to the guys that we're sitting at our computers. We are not with a hedge fund. We're not with some big private equity firm. We're just guys trying to eke out a living, making money day trading. It was exactly what I said. Let's figure out how we can do this on a regular basis. And so that's how that's the whole thing about this channel, is that I'm just trying to be better, come up with a way that I can make a living without having to be somewhere to somebody. And usually that means I'm in a camper somewhere. All right. So we had some nice trades going off, and then 8 o'clock it pops up, just this one didn't really work. That's a nice impulse. But, let's look at this here, right? Let's look at, see here I get, so I just can't see that. That's how bad I am at like some of this stuff. I don't want all this stuff in my face. And, people are like, hey, put your picture. What do you want to see my ugly mug for? There's a couple of videos out there of me out there. Right? So then one of the things that we notice is that price will pull back into the pressure cooker, right? So it's almost like the shelf, right? Where price is left, it bounces, it comes back down, and then it pops out. So then you can also say, well, what did it land on? What did price land on here? Well, this is, the pressure cookers, yeah, it's kind of in there. It's in there. I don't, you want to say it starts there? I might be up here. We have action here and we have action, it's all in the family. They're cousins. Right? You have business here, just choppy, and they try, and then they hit it. And then if there's another thing you could say is like, oh, I want to do a measured move. Measured moves are really, they're everywhere. Once you start to see how measured moves work, and they're not always the same, but they're very similar. Like there's just a rhythm to it that you can use as a pattern to help you see, but it gets busted on the next one. So that's why it's kind of, it's not entirely my jam, but it's in the family. I look at them. If I see something like this come off of here, I may, just use it as a guide, and look at it. It runs into the pressure cooker from this swing here, runs into the pressure cookers. So it, it's kind of like a launching, like a double boom, boom. So on the bigger scale, it's like boom, poof, and then you get off and go in there. See this hard down, see that hard up, and I'm only doing this in hindsight. This is like forensic trading here because we're trying to figure out how to see it in real time. This works as a setup, right? This whole thing is working as a setup because it's our impulse, right? We have an impulse, we have a shelf, right? Somewhere here we have a shelf here. Although I don't like that as a shelf, but it's in here and I can see how it's connected. And that's, the beauty of working in hindsight. You can say, oh, well, I don't know if I would have caught that. I don't know, I do see a stop here. There's a hard down, there's a hard up. So, and maybe that's your wash and you could hide behind that. But you definitely have a couple of things where this got busted here. It gets busted. It pulls back. There's a couple of people here. Stops are right. If somebody's buying right here, their stops are right down here. Stops got run. There's orders. So you got to be really good to catch this one and have the stones to say, okay, well, where would you put your order here? Where would you, what piece of stuff do you have, right? Look at that. It's just, that's the naked truth right there. But impulse up, draw a line, and it works. And guys, it doesn't always work. I mean, we saw the other day where this didn't come back. And, so as you see price come down, it gives you an idea, and it's a great long, if you're hiding behind this guy, even you got a 3-to-1 there. If you want to hide behind this guy, you got a 3-to-1 there, and you can say, give me more. There you are. Nice trade. Then look, it comes back again. Didn't have enough. Still hungry. Right. I don't think it jumps on that one, but barely. Right? Barely. Where are you going to put your stop? So that's why I take so much time to do this. I just want to understand. I want to have a deeper understanding. I'm not really that good, but here's what you can do. Right? You want to say, okay, I missed this here and it looks interesting. Now you're coming out of here doing this thing, and you're drawing your shelf, and you catch a little guy right there, right? Impulse leg up. God, good trading yesterday. Good trading. Look at that shelf. Hard down, or the wash. Hard down, chop, chop, chop. And there's a lot of things that I kind of I brush over because when I was learning this, my mentor was very detailed about, like what is involved in a wash. You have a hard down, this, and this, like there's characteristics to it. And I kind of get away from some of that because I feel like I want to simplify it in a way that I don't have to look at every bar. I can look at a wash and say, okay, I can identify this piece here. Like if I see this here, I'm looking for where did price come from? Where did it launch from? Where's our shelf? To get down here, and I have a stop. I mean, that's all I really need. It's not like, but you see that one there, right? And then you kind of like bring it across there. See how they pull into each other? It's fascinating stuff, guys. It's fascinating. I love it. It's just, I feel like I'm a kid at a candy store saying, well, what do I want? And then it's like, you're going to still get burned. Look at that. If you bought that right there and you put your stop right there, you're toast. You got to be underneath it. That's a big underneath it. I don't even know if I would have that. I'd be like, I'm here. I'd be okay, there's that. Do I want to be underneath this guy here? That's the saving, this guy here saves you from that because all those orders are right there. And then we come up to the top and then it starts coming off. Going back to this thing here. I trade this more regularly now. I wait for it to break and then I use this as my stop. And it's I don't teach it. I'm not talking about it. I mean, I guess I'm talking about it, but I'm not highlighting it as one of my regular trading setups. But it still gives you a 3-to-1. It gives you a stop. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and that's not a 3-to-1. That's the biggest part of this, is it gives you a stop to work with. And ultimately, because price was there's a shelf, it broke, and then it's coming, it's not going up anymore. It's coming down. Now, how do I know that? Well, I mean, I'm not looking to the left very often, but I know that price, and then if I usually have my 2,000 tick up here. So I would be, where were we at? Right over there, right over here. There's right here, this day here. So as price breaks this guy here, didn't we do it right here? Yeah, we were right there. So price is coming down, it turns, it breaks, and that's just awareness. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to really get involved in all that stuff. I don't know if I'm that good, but that's one of the things I look for. If I have a sense that price is going to break, like right here, this is really big top, and I know things are coming off. I know the politics right now are crazy. I know the tariffs are there, but I'm just looking at this guy here, right? And this guy gets busted out, right? There's no stop in here, and this thing does this little thing, but I'm not gonna, But this actually broke a wash, a stop. Now, where's our stop up here? To me, it's right here, which is really far away. But I'm also looking for, I could do a cash stop. Do I want to trade that bad? I don't know. Do I want to throw an order in here and say, okay, I'm gonna, no. Although it works. It works. Oh, you get popped out first, but it works. But I would say I want to be okay. I'm going to pick that, right? And I don't know. It just there's too much. I don't too much. Too much. I don't like it. But let's look at this part. Comes down, right? I draw a shelf across. Doesn't really jive, right? It's got this weird pop up here, right? And then but look at that, right? Look at that measured move, right? Something's going on. Poof, poof. There's three of them. It's the second one that holds. First one gets popped out. See that right there? Stops, stops, stops. So I guess the other side of this whole thing is that when you're learning this setup technique, you're learning where stops are, right? You can say this is a stop here. Granted, I'm doing this in hindsight. I realize that. Jump, right? Just draw that across there. Right. Now you have a stop, and you got a hit, baby. It's a big stop. I don't know if I'd take that. Maybe I would. The flow's going down. I don't know. It's not my ideal setup. Let's put it that way. It's not my ideal setup, and it's pretty far away, right? This thing starts at 11, and 40 minutes later it shows up here. But hey, what did I say about measured moves? Right? You say that one in front, measured moves, three of them, and then the day kind of fizzles, and overnight it just takes off. And this is just the market messing with you, like because this is where I believe people know that this is going to be a sell-off, and so they drive price up as high as they can to get it to where they think that they're going to, and then see this thing doesn't even stand a chance. It just drops them, just boom, super fast. They hit the sell button, and if you're not on, you're off, you're gone. Runs into this here. See, and that's not like a big. There's nothing, But like if you think about this, on this massive, bigger swing, where's a stop? There's no stops in here. This is your first opportunity for a stop, and it's this. Price goes right up to it and then drops them off. Now, I'm not good enough to look back and say all this stuff. I'm not saying that, and I don't like trading that far back. Right? I like to be right here on the 750, inside the swing. Inside here, impulse leg, because I can see it better, I can manage it better. I'm not daydreaming about what could happen. Oh, he gets you in there. somebody, and again, guys, This is how the market moves. That's all you need. A couple of those a week, and a camper. All right. Be careful. Use a stop, and map out your swings. Have a good understanding of what you're doing. Have fun with it. Don't go so big on your size. You're like, oh, I got to make money. Take that off the table, because once you learn how to do the setup, the money really does start to follow, and you get better at it. All right. Appreciate your time.